Hello and welcome to a video with me, Raindale. Today we'll be talking about the second batch of EX jobs, and this is a pretty small batch because we're only getting Xiza and Aileen, but they're both pretty interesting. And that's the thing about EX jobs, is that a lot of them are pretty good, and then there are some that are a little bit disappointing, I guess. But generally, there's going to be more of them that are released than you'll be able to build. So you need to pick and choose your battles here, because materials for EX are somewhat limited. And then, as the question was asked a couple times in my previous EX jobs video, yes, aside from the broadstone, the materials that you use when you get a unit up to EX jobs are the same throughout all rarities. So if you want to be able to do as many URs as possible, then that would definitely be a reason not to go for the lower rarity ones, because you're going to end up being bottlenecked by the blossoms, among other things. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, with that said, let's take a look at our first unit of the day, and that is Aileen. Aileen is a character that's been mediatized a little bit in War Division, because a lot of people consider her unplayable because of her super low agility in her normal jobs. And then there's also some really hardcore Aileen fans, like Orange, who's another content creator that you guys should definitely look at his content if you don't already. So yeah, some people really like her, some people don't, but what she's known for is she's one of the slowest character and one of those with the highest base damage, at least in her 99 version. Her 120 upgrade kind of switches those things around a little bit. First off, she gains quite a bit of HP and becomes rather tanky, with almost 3300 HP now. But then her attack in EX does not increase that much. She's a little bit under 500, so in terms of attack, we were looking at Xiza EX, who's another Lancer, and he has 560, so Aileen's lower than that. But what she does get that I really like is she gets 6 more agility in her EX job board. So while she's still far from being the fastest unit in the game, this helps make up for her slow speed. So she's now in the medium slow instead of slowest character tier, and that makes her a lot easier to use in many contexts. So just for the stats, if you're already a fan of Aileen, that might be something you want to go for. But then her ability upgrades are interesting. The first one is Shadow Stick, which is an attack that hits the 3 squares in front of her. And now, instead of hitting just 3 squares, it hits 2 rows of 3, basically 2 3x3 rows in front. So it's now a better AoE attack. It doesn't have an increased modifier, but it's still a little bit more AoE capabilities, which could come in handy. I don't think it's going to be a huge game changer, though. Her second upgrade I like quite a bit, and it's Earthen Glory. It's the diamond shape AoE that's around Aileen, and instead of having a 170 modifier, it goes up to 200. So 200 is really high. It's the modifier for most limit bursts in the game. So it's a very, very high damage. So while she already has very high damage with her high attack, this is going to give her a good AoE capability if she can get in the middle of the enemy team. And since she's a bit tankier now as well, she might be able to stay there and survive. As long as you're fighting physical teams, because her weakness to magic means that she will probably go down pretty quickly if you're fighting mages. And then her new ability is one that I like as well. So she has another 200% mod, so another very hard-hitting ability, which has a long range, but only in a line. So that means in auto, it probably won't be too much of an issue because characters typically run at each other in a straight line, and you'll be able to hit them from far away now. But in types of manual play, if your enemy knows Aileen's kit and is aware of her attack patterns, they might be able to dodge around this by making sure that you can't get in a straight line in front of them. What I especially love about this is that previously, if you wanted to give a ranged attack to Aileen, you had to give her the Lancer's sub-job, because that's where she would get Nighthawk, which was her best ranged option. But now that she gets one in her main job, you can more easily give her something like the Soldier sub-job and then gain access to Drain Force and a bunch of nice slash attacks without giving up your long-range attacks. So that's also really fun because it gives you more area to play around with her kit and try out different sub-jobs, so I like it. Overall, do I recommend her? Not necessarily. I think if you're a fan of the character and you've been enjoying her at 99, then she will be much stronger at 115, but I think you need to get her all the way to 120, because that ranged attack is where the major benefit comes from, in addition to the extra agility that you're getting. Should you go for it? If you're a fan of her and you want another physical Earth unit that hits really hard, or another Pierce character because you love Pierce teams, then go for it. But again, there's going to be a ton of great EX units coming out, so you might also want to hold on to your materials for other ones. Now, Xiza is, in my opinion, not having tried her yet, of course, but on paper she seems like one of the best EX job upgrades to get. The first thing that really changes for Xiza when you awaken her to EX jobs is her attack. Overall, she was a character with an okay base attack, but definitely not among the highest. Now, she goes all the way to 493, which is almost as much as Aileen. Just from her levels and then EX job board and EX job levels, her attack goes up by 152 points. That's pretty much insane. It's a lot more offense power. And then her first ability upgrades gives her 40 defense penetration on striking mastery. And that's very, very good. I stressed on the importance of defense penetration a lot in my previous video, and I still think that it's key for most characters. So if you're running someone like Aileen that we were talking about previously, the only way to give her defense penetration is to give her Oldo as TMR. And now she can deal a ton of damage to tanks as well. But for Xiza, just having that, she can have a base defense penetration of 40, and if you really know you're going to be fighting tanks, you can also put Oldo as Apron on her to get her all the way to 90 defense penetration, and then she'll just basically hit everyone for her full damage. Her second ability upgrade is okay. It increases Pummel, giving it Light Killer and a lot more damage. Now that's really good against Yuna, for example, that we're seeing now, if she can get in range to attack. The reason why I'm not that thrilled about this upgrade is because it's a short-range ability, and one of Xiza's main issues is that she doesn't have much range in general, but for that she needs to get up close and personal with the enemy in order to be able to use that, so she might end up going down before having the chance to use it. If she does use it though, it's a pretty significant damage increase, especially against light targets, so overall it's a good ability. And I think if you're getting Xiza to EX jobs, you definitely want to go for the level 120, because the new ability she gets is a game changer for her. What this does is it's a short range, but at least it's a ranged attack that she gets in her Monk main job that decreases attack resistance by 30%, which is a very high amount, and it will increase single target damage that your target takes by 30% from all sources for 3 turns. And then, after it decreased this, it deals 200% mud damage. 200% mud, again, is a very high amount, but it's actually going to do more than that because you decrease the resistance before dealing damage. So overall, it will be an attack with a very high amount of damage. That also enables the rest of your team if it's not enough to take out the enemy. But most of all, it's now a ranged attack in her Monk main job, which means that you don't need the Monk sub-job in order to hit it at a distance with those abilities. You now have something to hit enemies at a range, and I think that's a big deal for her. Should you go for her? Well, tough call. I know a lot of players don't love using Xiza. And while I did say that she will be able to deal a lot of damage to light units, She still has a 10% weakness to light and a 25% weakness to magic. So if you're going against a character like Yuna, you will in no way survive her attacks if she hits you first. So it's kind of a contest of who attacks first, and Xiza has the shorter range, so she might not win that contest. So is she going to be meta and super strong? That depends how you use her. I think in manual play, if you have some nice shenanigans, you can definitely use her to great lengths. But in arena, we'll have to wait for light mages to be a little bit less prevalent for her to use her full capabilities, or you need to pair her with tanks that will draw the attacks away from her so that she can go around around the side and then go and one-shot the enemy mages. And in that scenario, she can definitely win you some matches. So that was it. Not such a long video when there is only 2 units to look at. But hopefully you guys learned a thing or two and enjoyed it. If you're going to go for those units, let me know. I would love to do Aileen, but I don't even have her MLB'd. But Xiza is definitely in my build list. I've saved the Rainbow Broadsong for her, and I almost have enough shards just from the random anniversary pulls to get her to 120. So I'll definitely be working on that as soon as she's released. So tune up for a video showcasing her in Arena shortly. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. It will make it more likely that you see my videos in the future. And then thank you for your time, and have a great rest of your day.